Hello everyone, welcome to the stream, and today we're going to be flying the FlyByWire A320, and we will go from Savannah, Georgia to Orlando, Florida. So the first thing that I would do is actually set up my controls, because my TCA engine quadrant is set to CRJ, so I gotta set that to FlyByWire. And the first thing that we are going to do is actually go to our flypad and import our flight plan from SimBrief. So there you go. Oh, I don't know why I shut that off. Okay, so let's do this one more time. We have that. We are gonna go to settings. I can't really see it, so I'll increase the brightness. There you go. So we have this. Next thing what we can do is we can get our stuff connected. And we don't need all the other stuff. That should be good. But yeah, let's get started with the meaty part of this tutorial. Okay, what is wrong with this? What is wrong with the camera? Okay, there you go. So let's get our external power. The batteries goes on. For IRS systems 1, 2 and 3 goes on. Crew oxygen supply. And for light, for now we can turn on nav lights, and emergency exit lights can go on. No smoking sign on, and seatbelt sign on. So far this should do it for us. So now that we have that, let's get some light in here on the displays. Our ECAMs, and then we can go ahead and turn our light for our co-pilot. With that being done, I will just pull out some displays to make it easy on me on my other screen. Okay, now that I have that, we are gonna go back to our normal view. Okay, next thing that we're gonna do is fuel. So for that we'll go to our OFP, and we can see over here 13,573 pounds. So 13,573 pounds for our fuel. There you go, we are fueled up. Let's go to our flight computer and start setting up our MCDU. So first thing we're going to go is AOC weight imbalances, and let's get our passengers in for today. 140 passengers flying with us. So while that is being done, let's go to init page and get our flight following from SimBrief. You can clear the messages. There you go. We are going from KSAV to KMCO, and alternate is Miami International. Our flight number is Delta 1962. And cost index 15, flight level 300 is our cruising altitude. Okay, next thing what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to flight plan, and the runway that we are assigned today, I'm not really sure, let me check it one more time. Yeah, runway 28. So we're gonna go from runway 28. We are not flying any SIDS, not available as well. We already have a flight discontinued. Let's clear that before we go further. There you go. Next thing we're gonna go to is destination arrival, and we are assigned runway 36 right today. So ILS 36 right, and we are flying the Bitho 7 right here. And for VIAs we will take tramp. Now that we have that, there you go, we can go ahead check for any discontinuity. And seems like there is no discontinuity. Sounds good for our flight plan. We can go ahead check our ILS frequency, and we don't need to fill this up because we are not well, I think there isn't any ILS for the departure. We'll figure that out later if we need. We can go back to initialization page, second page, and let's go to 0 fuel weight. We'll get that for our block fuel. We can check right here, so that'll be 13.5. We can go ahead put that, and our remaining information will be calculated for us. The last page in MCDU that you need to set is performance. For performance, we are going to put 1 for flaps. We don't need to care about flex, temperature, and now the V1, VR, and V2. So we're gonna fetch those. For V2 it's 131. I'd like to add 10 more to it, and there you go. That is it for us. Now one thing that I like to do is, if we look at our chart, we can go ahead on our star and we can check what is our first altitude restriction. So landing on, okay, so we can expect 12,000. Yeah, so we can expect 12,000 on OMN. No, actually right here on this point, so Lama, on Lama waypoint we can expect 12,000. So we will get down to 12,000 when we reach Lama. So now that we know that,
on behalf of myself, your captain, the first officer and cabin crew, I'd like to take this time to
a little bit low.
We're just wrapping up some paperwork up front here and waiting to see final numbers from the ground crew, then we'll be on our way. Flight attendants will be coming through the cabin shortly with a very important safety briefing. We do ask that.
Okay, so as I was saying, once we reach Lama, we have to be at 12,000. So this is gonna be our waypoint where we have to descend first to 12,000. So for that, we'll go to progress page, and right over here we're gonna input that waypoint. So it should be around 187 nautical miles away, and there you go. Then we can progress. We can actually check our progress on how far we are from this waypoint, and then we can accordingly plan our descent. Now that we have set everything in our flight computer, we can go up and we can turn on our APU. So there goes our APU. We'll go back. As we have all the passengers, we can simply close that. Once our APU is on, we can also turn off our external power. So our flight computer is ready, and so is okay, what is wrong with the views today? Okay, there you go. The cameras are really acting up. Okay, so the next thing that we know, we are flying our cruising altitude today is flight level 300, so we can set that on our autopilot system. There you go. Other than that, we don't really need to do much. Our APU is almost ready. In fact, it is. So let's go up and turn off our external power. We can go ahead, turn all fuel pumps, and our APU bleed goes on as well. Next few things that I'd like to do is close the door, obviously the cockpit door, and we don't take care about that now. Everything else is looking good. We can just set our squawk code. Let's say ATC assigned us 5142, so I'll put that on, and yeah, this should be good for now. Let's go upstairs, turn on our beacon light, as we will plan our pushback. Okay, we can open our airport chart and let's turn our position. So we are right now over here, and we are departing from runway 28, which is right here. So it is going to be a long taxi. We are going to take Alpha 2 to Bravo, and then from Bravo to Echo, and then we should get to our runway. So now that I know that information, I can plan my pushback easier. I love this pushback tool. It's really crazy. It's really crazy. I love it. Helps me plan my pushback so easy. There you go. Is there anything left to do? Let me quickly go ahead, check upstairs. Everything looks good. Bleed air is on. All the lights are set. We can start requesting pushback.
This is ground. Stand by.
I've set the time to early morning, so it looks beautiful out here.
Okay, sir. The bypass pin is installed. All doors and hatches closed and all ground equipment is removed.
The parking brakes are set. You may lift.
Parking brake set. Lifting the aircraft.
I guess that animation is not going to be
We're
here,
cleared
but
for start
okay.
and push.
Okay, cleared for push start. Please release parking brake.
Let's go ahead, release our parking brakes. Why is that not working?
Parking brakes are
Okay,
released.
there you go.
Commencing pushback. You can start the engines in sequence.
It will start in the sequence.
So once the pushback starts, we are going to start our right engine first. This plane is so fun to fly. Okay, nice. That car just went through it. Our right engine is almost stabilized. Once it is, we can go ahead and turn on our left engine. Our taxi is almost complete. Early morning light. Oh, I forgot to set our barometric pressure. The magical B key. Okay, our taxi is almost done, and so is our engine. So let's go ahead, turn on our left
Okay,
engine.
pushback completed. Please set your parking brake.
Let's do
Parking
that.
brake set.
Parking brake set. Lowering aircraft.
Ground. You may disconnect.
Okay, sir. Clear
Okay,
to
now that
disconnect.
that is done,
Pin has been
first
removed.
thing
See
what
you
we
at
can
the
do
side.
is
Have a good flight.
arm our
Holding
spoilers.
position waiting for the visual. Thank you and goodbye.
Everything is mapped to my throttle quadrant. Next thing we can do is set our takeoff flaps. Also put our brakes to max, auto brakes. Our engine, left engine is almost ready. Okay, let's go upstairs, turn on our taxi light. There you go, beacon was already on. We don't need wing lights and all that. Other than that, everything is good. Once our engine is stabilized, our left engine, we can go ahead and turn off our APU. There you go. So ignition goes off, we can go up, bleed air goes off, and APU master switch goes off. Next thing what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn on one of our radars, predictive wind shear goes on, and we're gonna set this already, TRA and all. Okay, everything looks good. Let's go back, and we're ready for taxi. So before we do that, I'm just going to pull these screens out. Okay, parking brake goes off, and we will get start moving. It will be a pretty long taxi, not gonna lie. but we can enjoy some views on the way. I don't know why when I'm on external view my inputs don't get red. Okay, so instead of taking Alpha 2, what we are gonna do is a little bit of change here. For taxi, we are going to take Alpha and then fall into Echo, which will be a little bit more faster. So just to show you over here, what we are doing right now is we are following right here, and then we'll go all the way to runway 28. Okay, Microsoft Flight Simulator doing its thing. I hate when this happens. It's like the game renders these taxiways in a very weird way, where it goes through bumps. Okay, it seems like we are on a slope. Great. And this next left is what we have to take. Looks like the taxi marking on the ground is actually not matching with Navigraph. It seems like we are taking Bravo right now, and we were on Charlie. Seems like we'll have to cross runway 19 over there, so we're gonna go up and turn on our strobe lights. There you go. I'm not using ATC today as of now. Just wanted a much more chilling environment for the flight. And if you guys have any question, feel free to ask on comment section or on chat if you're watching the stream. I know I went through very fast, it's just early morning, but I do these videos often, and I'll be doing more often than I did before, so you can always tune in and go through all the steps how I go from cold and dark to cold and dark on FlyByWire A320. Ooh, we're taxiing very fast, almost 18 knots there. We are almost there, and we're gonna take this right and then prepare our aircraft for takeoff, and then get and line up on the runway. Very sensitive when it comes to taxiing. We can stop right here, not a good way to stop, but okay. First thing, landing light goes on, takeoff light, nose light goes on, what else? Everything is looking good here. We'll just make the cabin call.
Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff.
Okay, everything looks good over here. The only thing is we have to turn on our ignition. So there you go. And our toga config button to make sure everything is normal. There you go. Everything is normal. So we are good to line up with the runway and perform our takeoff. Seems like we will take off and then take a left turn. Okay, so pressure on our side stick. It's a rolling takeoff today. knots, releasing pressure on side stick slowly. About to reach V1. There you go, V1 and rotate. Positive rate of climb, gear goes up. And we're gonna slowly start making our left turn in a moment. Flaps go up. Once we get to 1500 feet, we are going to go to climb detent on our throttle. There you go. Ignition can go off. We're gonna take care of our lights once we are free. As we do not have a co-pilot, we'll have to do everything together, just making sure that we prioritize our tasks. Okay, we don't want to go above 250, so I'm just going to pull it up a little bit. Until we reach 10,000 feet, I will hand fly and make sure that our speed is below 250 as per regulation here in the US or anywhere. I believe that is the regulation. Crossing 6,000 feet into 7,000. So what we're gonna do after that is I'll show you how I plan my descent based on that progress page and the website or tool that I use to calculate when to start my descent. Now a lot of people can do it by hand, but you know, if there's a tool, why not use it? We are almost at 10,000 feet. And here you go. I'll turn on my autopilot. Let's go upstairs, take care of the lights. So nose light, there you go, runway light. Just going to retract and seatbelt sign goes off. Nose booking sign goes auto. So there you go. That was for takeoff. Once we have our takeoff done, we are climbing to 30,000 feet, which is our cruising altitude today. And with that taken care of by the autopilot, I will show you what tool I use in order to calculate my descent. So over here you can see on my flight computer in the progress page I have a waypoint Llama, and it is around 175 nautical miles away. So what we're gonna do is I'll show you the app. We're gonna go to this link, so descent.versal.app. So let's say our cruising altitude is 30,000. We know that the altitude restriction at Llama is 12,000 feet. So I'm expecting our airspeed to be anywhere around, like, let's say 400 knots, and by the time we reach 12,000 feet I want to be at around 260 knots. So here you can see the top of descent will be 71 nautical miles away from Llama, which is, so in about 100 nautical miles we are gonna slowly start our descent at this vertical speed rate. It can be managed using managed mode or open descent, and it could be a mix of all three: open descent, managed descent, as well as vertical speed. But now as we know, so 71 nautical miles, right now it's 169.5 nautical miles away from Llama. So by the time we get in about 100 nautical or 95 nautical miles, we'll start our descent. So that is all for descent planning. And now we can enjoy our morning flight flying. Also, before I go, right now we are crossing 80,000 feet, so we have to go to standard mode for our altimeter, barometric pressure actually, and yeah, rest everything should be taken care of by our flight management system. The only thing is, before we reach our TOD, so before we get across 100 nautical miles, all we have to do is set our destination information into our MCDU for our descent and landing. So I'll see you shortly. So this is the time where we're gonna enter our destination data, as well as we're only 96 nautical miles away, so we're gonna soon start our descent. This was a very short flight and I love these short flights. So for our destination, our altimeter is 3028 and 20 degrees centigrade temperature, as well as 30 degree at 7 knots our wind. So 3028, let's go ahead, performance, next phase. Okay, 3028, temperature is 20 and winds are at 30, 030 at 007 knots. Okay, next for our minimum decision altitude, we are going to check our chart right here. So refer to minimums cat 1292. So we're gonna input that, and that is it for our data over here. So we're around 87 nautical miles away, and soon we are going to start our descent. So there's about 80 nautical miles away, and we can actually start descending down, so that we have enough time to decelerate as well. And actually, let me turn on these lights so we can see better. But yeah, so we are going to descend down to 12,000 feet, and the way we're going to do it is we are going to go ahead at 1700 feet per minute. There you go, our descent starts right now, and we are going to descend down at about, no, right now we are not going to touch the speed at all. Let's just descend down to that amount, and then we can decide whether to go open descent or manage descent.
From the flight deck, ladies and gentlemen, as you may have noticed, we have begun our initial descent down to our destination. Now would be a good time to wrap up any business you need to take care of as we prepare for approach. If you are up, once you return to your seat, we ask that you remain seated until the aircraft arrives safely at the gate. Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin for arrival.
So as we're getting down to about 24,000 feet, we can go ahead and turn on our seatbelt signs so people slowly get into their seat and wear the seatbelt. Protocol devices or no smoking can stay on auto for now. Everything else is looking good. Strobe lights, beacon light, up here everything is looking good as well. We're crossing 20,000 feet and we need to descend 8,000 more feet before we get to Lama, which is about 38 nautical miles away, so we should get there in good time. After that, let's look at our chart here. So after that we have to get down to 10,000 feet by the time we get to Cosmo, and then in Bito we have to get to 8,000 feet. After that, what we are going to do is from 8,000 feet we are going to descend down to 5,000 feet to Tram, and then from there on we can just follow the glide slope until we are established on the glide slope for our final descent. Okay, we have just crossed 18,000 feet, so let's put our barometric pressure back on, and with the B key we can set that. And from here we can go to our managed descent, which will actually descend a little bit more faster. I guess it will try to follow the VNAV path, which is still not perfect in this aircraft, but there are no restrictions over here as well. Let's go up, turn on constraints, and let's see. Yeah, nothing as of now. So it is mostly gonna target that by the time we by the way we're descending, we will get to 5,000 feet, and that's how it's going to calculate the descent rate. We are crossing 5,000 feet. Sorry, 15,000 feet. There you go, a better view of Florida. So we have reached 12,000 feet right before we got to our waypoint. Let's see. Progress, yes, so about 10 nautical miles away, which was perfect. Once we crossed from that, okay, my camera is going on crazy. Once we cross that, we will descend further down to 10,000 feet. So let's set that up in our flight computer. There we go. Also, this would be a good time to go ahead on the RadNav page and make sure that our ILS frequency, which I think was already entered, matches, yes, 110.7 IOJP. Sounds good. So that is set. We can go ahead over here. We are not going to activate our approach yet. We're far for that. Flight plan page, and yeah, we are gonna cross Lama in about less than a minute. Okay, we have crossed Lama, so we can go ahead and start our descent further down to 10,000 feet. I think soon I'll have to apply some speed brakes. Or actually no, we don't. We should be able to get to 10,000 feet. Yeah. Our aircraft is decelerating to 250 knots. As per the regulations at 10,000 or below 10,000 feet. Also, this is the time we turn on our landing system. We would go up on overhead panel, turn on our landing lights, and yeah, that seems good. For now, we are good with our duties, and once we cross Cosmo, we are going to further descend down to 8,000 feet. So let's 8,000 feet. Our altitude selector right there. And then after our next waypoint, which is Bito, we are going to descend down to 5,000 feet. So what I would do once we get to Bito, because we have our constraints on and our flight MCDU, just to check it, see 5,000, 4,000, it is already computed over here. So we can set it to about 3,000 and leave it to descend. So it will descend until it reaches 3,000, and I believe that is when, yeah, so 3,000 about silky, and after that we can just intercept the glide slope. So that is my plan. Let's see if that's how things go. But right now we are at 8,000 already. So once we cross our next waypoint, I will set it to about 3,000 feet, and then we'll leave it to manage descent, and the computer can do the rest for us while we prepare for our final descent. So once again we have started our descent, but this time we have set it to 3,000, but we know that our flight computer will make sure that we don't descend down below our constraint that we have to follow. And we can also set a few more things for landing. One which I would do is I would set my brakes to what's a good day, we can set it to low, and a few more things once we get close to our final descent. Very thick cloud before we get down to beautiful Miami, or actually Orlando. What am I saying? So we are reaching our first constraint over here, and also this would be the time I would set our speed. So I would set it to about 230 to begin with. And also we can go ahead and activate our approach phase, and just to have it ready. Okay, we have captured the ILS for now, which we might lose our frequency in a bit because we have to cross the airport, which is on our right currently, but we'll have to go further down to our waypoint trap. Okay, we can see our airport right there. The flight plan looks a little bit weird on the MFD here, but I'm hoping there will be no problems. Also, we can do is portable devices go off. We can turn on nose light as well, and rest everything looks good. We can further decelerate to about 220 knots. Let's go to 210 knots and put our first flaps down. There you go, our final turn, and also we are descending down to 4,000 now. This is where I would turn on my localizer mode as well, and we can further decelerate to about 290 knots. And you know what, we can just turn our approach mode right here and arm our spoilers so we can intercept the glide slope momentarily, and also put our speed on manage mode. Our second flaps comes down. And we can see the airport in the distance. We're a little bit high, and we should descend down. A little bit of a messy descent down here. But we are recovering pretty well.
2,500.
Landing gear goes down. And flaps 2-3. And we can go do our call. So there you go, we are descending down. And we are on our glide slope. We are a little bit fast, but trying to slow down at the same time. In about 500 to 700 feet, we're gonna take over and fly the rest of the descent.
One thousand.
So we can go full flaps now. Ignition can come on, as it has to be on critical phase of the flight, like takeoff, landing, and all that. And about right now, autopilot goes disconnect.
Hundred above. 500. 500. 500.
There is not much wind, so it
400.
is much more easier to fly down.
300. 300. 200. 1 100. 50, 40, 30, 20. Retard. 10, 5.
And there you go. Reverse thrusters comes on. Pretty hard landing. Should have done better, but at least we landed in one piece. And reversers will go back to normal. Manual brakes. And based on the taxi chart, we are going to take a turn on Juliet taxiway, then go to Charlie, and then, or maybe just follow Charlie 1, Juliet 1, and we can go in any of the gates that is open on airside 1. Flaps can go off. Spoilers disarm, ignition goes off. And also our landing lights can turn off. Taxi lights can come on. A little bummed about the landing, could be so much better, but still learning, still practicing for buttery landing. So we're gonna go straight and then take the next right, which would put us to Charlie 1 and then to Juliet 1. Can go ahead, turn our APU. Ooh, okay. So on our left, if we see an empty gate, we are simply gonna go quietly park over there. Nobody will find out. Hey WYV tracker. Not sure what you're trying to say, but hey. Do we even have it empty? Something, yeah, we do. Okay, we are going to park right here on this gate. And this should be good. Parking brakes comes on, engine goes off. Okay, we can turn off all our fuel pumps, and as we are on the gate, turn on our external power, which means APU goes off. And yeah, that is it for our flight. What we can do next is bring this, turn on all of that, catering as well, and we can let the passengers move right now. Well, there we go. That was it for the flight, and thank you for watching the stream. I'm going to take one picture because this is just beautiful. There you go. I hope everyone has a good night, good morning, have a good day, and I'll see you in the next stream.